All of us have our threshold, places beyond which it can be so difficult to move. For many of us, generous giving represents such a threshold. Giving takes so many shapes, but like any spiritual discipline, the key is for that gift to grow. We grow in our knowledge of God. We grow in our faith. If we aren't already, may we seek to grow in our giving, in the time we give, in the money we give, in the love we give. Let us ponder this growth, and may God shine his light upon the threshold so that nothing can hold us back from this growth.
29 to 31. You can follow through as projected on the screen. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles, and they will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Mark chapter 1, verses 29 to 39. As soon as they left the synagogue, they went with James and John to the home of Simon and Andrew. Simon's mother-in-law was in bed with a fever, and they immediately told Jesus about her. So he went to her, took her hand, and helped her up. The fever left her, and she began to wait on them. That evening, after the sunset, the people brought to Jesus all the sick and demon-possessed. The whole town gathered at the door, and Jesus healed many who had various diseases. He also drove out many demons, but he would not let the demons speak because they knew who he was. Early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place, where he prayed. Simon and his companions went to look for him, and when they found him, they exclaimed, "Everyone is looking for you." Jesus replied, "Let us go somewhere else, to the nearby villages, so I can preach there also. That is why I have come." So he traveled throughout Galilee, preaching in the synagogue and driving out demons. May the Lord add blessing to the reading of his words.
Thank you. Beautiful. We are indeed blessed. Sustaining ministry. Today's journey allows us to learn more about Simon's mother-in-law, how she multitasks and ministers to the needs of others. In doing this, she is sustaining the ministry of Jesus Christ. Just as Simon's mother-in-law juggled her responsibility, would you be ready to sustain God's ministry?
There are days when multitasking, we used to call it juggling air balls, takes its toll on us. As women of faith, service, witness, action, prayer, and ever so much more, we often need to stop or slow down in our exuberance for what we are called to do and for managing our myriad ministries. In the Bible, there are so many women whose lives are full of joys and sorrows, and folks and family who populate their day-to-day activities. While we do not have the specific details, you can imagine that at times these women had to adjust the cadence of their lives to not only be responsive to others, but also responsive to themselves. We find one such woman, Simon's mother-in-law, in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 1, verses 29 through 39.
We don't know much about her, except that she had a daughter who married a man who walked with Jesus. We don't even know her name, so for our purposes today, we'll call her Julietta. Back in those days, naming a woman publicly was a way of shaming her. Not naming her publicly kept the shame away. Maybe that's why so few women in the Bible are named. It was not an honor to be named, at least for Simon's mother-in-law, the woman at the well, and most women. Just think, the book of Hebrews may have been written by a woman because the author is never named. Simon knows of Jesus' healing touch and brings him to where Julietta is ailing, only to witness the fever leaving her. She is soon up and serving the group of men who have arrived. Remember that Simon and his brother Andrew are the fishermen Jesus first recruits at the shores of Galilee before he calls out to James and John.